Hello guys, welcome back to Maison African Motives, still working on mathematics N3. In this platform, we have got a question that you're going to consider. Actually, question number 1 from the question paper, which was written November 2016 as a revision. So we shall quickly rush through the questions, guys, so that we can see what actually we're supposed to do to attempt these typical questions. So the first part on question number 1, we are given a consideration where you are given to simplify. So there it's to simplify. So actually, for you to simplify, you are supposed to take consideration of the question. Okay, on 1.11, let's see what we are given. We are given the square root of, okay, let me just write it aside here. So this is question 1.11. All right. So you're given to find the square root of that was 49x squared plus 56x plus 16 like this. Okay, so this is a typical question that you actually find on your factorization where you need to factorize actually this type of an expression. If you are to check here, we've got 49, which is a perfect square. 49x squared, it's a perfect square. 16 is a perfect square, which was actually taken from this expression. Let me write it. If you are given x plus a squared like this, it gives you x squared plus 2ax plus a squared like this. Okay, so if we are to rewrite, we can actually take that 49x squared can be written as 7, the square root of 49, because 49 is a perfect square. The square root of 49 is 7. The square root of x squared is x, so it can be written as 7x squared plus 56x plus 16 here is same as 4 squared. So this is a special type of a quadratic expression that you need to know, or you can just factorize the normal way, still you can find the same answer, but this is the best way that you can do. All right. If we are to note here, we can see that this part is actually giving us this format of an expression of x plus a to the exponent of 2, whereby our x in this case is this 7x. This is our x, all right, which is being x squared, okay? Our a, which is a squared, and our a in this case is this number, which is 4. This is your a. So that means this expression can be written as, okay, we need x plus a squared. So our x, we said, is this part, which is 7x. So it is going to be 7x plus a, which is 4. So it is going to be 4 like this. But as you can see, it's x plus a squared. So this is going to be 7x plus 4 squared. So this is the shortest way that you can use to factorize. I'm going to explain it another video on another class so that you can actually understand what I'm trying to say here. So this was going to give you the square root of 7x plus 4 squared, okay, of which we know that square root simply means to the exponent of a half. So the square root and the 2 is going to cancel out. That means we are going to remain with 7x plus 4. So that is the square root of that expression. So on how to factorize, there are so many ways that you can actually do to factorize this typical expression. All right, on 1.112, it's again to simplify, and that is actually 7 marks. Okay, so we shall quickly see what we're supposed to do in this case. Okay, so I'm just going to write this question aside. So this is 1.12, where we were given the expression. All right, I just wrote it aside here. This was a to the exponent of a third minus a to the exponent of minus 2/3 in a bracket. Then another bracket, it was a plus a to the exponent of minus 1 minus 2 to the exponent of minus 1. And you are given to simplify. Okay. Let's start with the first bracket. We can see that there is a negative exponent. And from our laws of exponents, we know that x to the exponent of minus a is same as 1 over x to the exponent of a. So that means here we can rewrite the first bracket as a to the exponent of a third minus 1 over a to the exponent of 2/3. So this is what you're going to have if we remove the negative exponent. Okay, you move on to this bracket, you do the same here. This is a plus a to the exponent of minus 1, which is 1 over a. minus 2, then everything to the exponent of minus 1. So we are starting with this negative inside the bracket, this negative exponent. Ignore this one for the meantime. We are going to see it later on. So if we are to check inside these brackets, these are fractions that you're supposed to simplify, because the first part is just same as a to the exponent of a third over 1 minus 1 over this. This one is a, which is same as a over 1 plus 1 over a minus 2 over 1. Every number can be expressed as over 1 to make it a fraction. Okay, so performing your addition and subtraction, you know that you're supposed to find the LCM of the given denominators. You've got 1 and a to the exponent of 2. So our common denominator, which is the LCD or the LCM, is going to be a to the exponent of 2/3. Okay, so now let's subtract. Remember how you subtract, you're supposed to divide. So you divide a to the exponent of 2/3 divided by 1, which is any number times 1 remains as it is. So it is going to be a to the exponent of 2/3. But remember that the answer that you get here, you multiply it to the numerator. So it is going to look like this. It is going to be a to the exponent of 2/3 times a to the exponent of a third. Okay, knowing that these bases are the same. So if you are multiplying the bases which are the same, you add the exponent. So it's 2/3 plus a third, of which you can just apply or your calculator. You can just use your calculator to simplify this one. Let me just share the whole of the screen so that we can see our calculator here. All right, so this is 2 over 3 plus 1 over 3, which is just a 1, guys. So you can just use your calculator to confirm this, but you're obtaining a 1. So this is going to be a to the exponent of 1. So which means on top here, we are going to have a to the exponent of 1, which is same as a, minus, we move on, a to the exponent of 2/3 divide by a to the exponent of, as you can see, these are the same. So they will cancel each other. We obtain a 1. So 1 times 1 on the numerator, that's a 1. Okay. Let's move on to the second bracket. If we have to check in this bracket, we've got 1a and 1. So the LCM or the LCD is a. Okay, then we can divide a divide by 1. That's a. Then a times a, which is a squared. Take note, you divide a and 1, you get a. Then you times to this a. Okay, plus a divide by a, that's 1. Then 1 times 1, which is 1. Okay, a divide by 1. That is an a times 2, which is minus 2a. So this is going to give us minus 2a. Everything to the exponent of minus 1. Okay. This is what you're going to have at the end, guys. If you have to check the first part, there's nothing that you can do. So you can just rewrite as it is a minus 1 over a to the exponent of 2/3, in this case like this, multiplied to, okay, there is a negative exponent here. So remember what we said. If you are given actually a fraction like, let's just say a over b, let me just change the marker here. Let's just say we've got a over b like this to the exponent of minus 1. It gives us b over a. That's the inverse of that. So you've got this fraction raised to the exponent of minus 1. So we're just going to invert this fraction. Okay, so that means we are going to obtain a on top. So it is going to be a over this part. Now we're going to write it down, but we can rearrange these numbers. We can start with a squared minus 2a plus 1. We can just rewrite this expression as a quadratic expression. So it's going to be a squared minus 2a plus 1. It's just rewriting. But what is important is for you to remove the negative exponent, you invert that fraction. All right. So this is what we're going to have at the end. And do we have anything familiar so far? We do not have. Remember, brackets simply means you are multiplying. So you can even write it as a minus 1 over a to the exponent of 2 over 3 times, that's a bracket, means you're multiplying. So it is going to be a over, as we can see, you've got a quadratic expression. So you can actually factorize this quadratic expression, knowing that the coefficient of a squared is 1. So all you need is to have two brackets, since the coefficient of x squared is 1. So you're going to have x and x here. We focus with the constant term, which is 1. What are the factors of 1? But from these factors, if you multiply them, if you add them, they must give you a negative 2. Okay, which are the factors of 1? So if you have to check on 1, we've got negative 1 and negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. If we add, we are going to obtain negative 2. So these are the numbers that we need. X minus 1 and that's a actually, not x. So this is going to be a minus 1, a minus 1. Okay, so that's it. At this stage, we can see that these two are the same, so they can cancel out a minus 1, a minus 1. Okay, on a here, we are dividing, actually, it's a divided to a to the exponent of 2 over 3. So if we are dividing the bases which are the same, what do? We subtract the exponents. It's a minus b. So if we are given a here is same as a to the exponent of 1. So it's a to the exponent of 1 divided by a to the exponent of 2/3, of which you're going to subtract. So it's 1 minus 2/3, of which 1 minus 2/3, that's a third. So it is going to be a to the exponent of 2 over 3, or you can just use your calculator there. So that means on top, in terms of a, because we divided these two, we obtained a to the exponent of a third. So this is what you're going to have over. In the denominator, we are just remaining with a minus 1. So it is going to be over a minus 1. Okay. Can we simplify this further? No, we can't even simplify this. So that means this is our final answer. There's nothing that we can do from this stage. So guys, as you can see, these were the typical stages that you were supposed to take in order for you to simplify this expression. So take note of all the steps that are necessary. Okay, on 1.13, still to simplify, but this time we are given fractions dividing to each other. All right, so I'm just gonna rewrite these fractions here. So this is 1.13. Okay, so I'm just going to rewrite these fractions. So it's 1.13. We are given 3x squared minus 7x plus 2, everything over 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 divided to x squared plus x minus 6, everything over x squared minus 9. Okay, whenever you're given such type of equation, if you are dividing, before you think of factorizing, introduce the multiplication. Remember, the moment you introduce the multiplication, you invert the second fraction. That is, you interchange the second fraction. So the first fraction is going to remain as it is, 3x squared minus 7x plus 2, everything over 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 multiplied to x squared minus 9 over x squared plus x minus 6. Okay. At this stage, what am I going to do? The best way is for you to factorize. So what you're going to do is to factorize these expressions so that you can simplify further. So let's try by all means to factorize. Okay, we are going to start with 3x squared minus 7x plus 2. Okay, so remember here the coefficient of x squared is not 1, so which means you're going to apply the longer way of factorization. You multiply the first term to the last term, that is going to be 6x squared. Do we have factors of 6x squared here? But these factors, if you add them, they must give you the middle term, which is negative 7x. Do we have such type of express terms? Okay, we have got minus 6x here and x. Okay, minus 6x and minus x. If we multiply these two, we obtain 6x squared positive. If we add minus 6 plus minus x, that's minus 7. So these are the two terms that we are going to replace into the middle term. So it is going to be 3x squared minus 6x minus x plus 2. Okay, what is common for the first two terms? Because we can group them into two like this so that you can factor out the common term for the first two terms here, which is 3x. So 3x squared divided by 3x here, that's going to be x. Okay, as you can see, 3 and 3 will cancel. X into two of them here, we're going to remain with 1x, okay? Minus 6x divided by 3x, which is going to be minus 2. So all you need is to make sure that this remaining part, you're going to have the same bracket, which is x minus 2. But our x is carrying a negative, so which means we're going to factor out a negative so that it can be a positive. And 2 divided by minus 1, that's minus 2. So the two brackets are the same as we can see here, so which means we're going to take out the common bracket of x minus 2. We remain with the 3x minus 1 on the other part, which is 3x minus 1. Okay, so these are the two brackets that we are going to have, x minus 2 into 3x minus 1. Okay, everything over, you do the same thing on the other part. You have to factorize just like what we did on this part. Okay, so let's see. what we're gonna have on this part here. Okay, I'm just gonna write it down here. All right, so that's what we have, guys. 2x squared minus 5x minus 3. Okay, so you do the same thing just like the previous part. You multiply the first term to the last term. 2 times minus 3, which is minus 6x squared. So we need two terms, but this time, if we add them, they must give us minus 5x. Okay, so which numbers are we referring to? We've got minus 6x and x. If we multiply these two, we obtain negative 6x squared. If we add minus 6 plus 1, that's minus 5. So these are the two terms that we actually need in this case. So it is going to be 2x squared minus 6x plus x minus 3. That is the one that you're going to very careful there. So you can actually factor out here from the first two terms. We can see that 2x is common, so you can factor out 2x, and this will be x minus 3. Already we've got x minus 3, so all you need is to factor out 1 so that you remain with x minus 3. So as you can see, guys, we're going to have a bracket of x minus 3 and remaining with 2x plus 1. So you can have other ways of factorizing. Yes, it's fine. Use those ways as long you are obtaining the same thing is fine. So this is 2x plus 1. All right, we move on to the other part of the equation here. We can see that, all right, we've got x squared minus 9, which is a difference of 2 squares, because this can be taken from x squared minus 3 squared. Remember your difference of 2 squares. One of the bracket is going to add the square root of x squared, which is x, the square root of 9, which is 3. So one bracket adds, another one subtracts. Okay. On the other end, we've got x squared plus x minus 6, of which the coefficient of x squared is 1. So which means here we just have two brackets. We do not apply the longer way. We just have two brackets. We've got x here and x. You focus with the constant, which is minus 6. What are the factors of minus 6? But if you add them, you must obtain a 1. So factors of 6, that's 3 and minus 2. If you multiply this, you get minus 6. If you add, you obtain 1. So that's x plus 3, x minus 2. So now, since we have done factorizing, you can cancel as long it is between the numerator and the denominator, just like x minus 2 and x minus 2. Okay, we've got x minus 3 here, x minus 3 here. We've got x plus 3 here, we've got x plus 3 here. We are remaining with 3x minus 1, 2x plus 1. These two are not common, so they cannot cancel each other. So we've got 3x minus 1 over 2x plus 1. So this is going to be the resultant solution that we are going to have, or the resultant expression that we are going to have at the later stage. Okay, so that was actually the typical question that we had there. On 1.2, we are given that if 16x to the exponent of this is divided by 2x minus 1, the remainder is 7, determine the value of p. So this one, I'm just going to work it out here. I'm not going to waste much of your time. What you need from the remainder theorem, guys, if you divide by a certain expression, equate that expression to 0. This is what you need to do. Okay, just equate that to 0. 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. Solve for x, okay? Solve for x. So if you solve for x, you're going to obtain 2x is equal to minus 1, divide by 2 by 2, so x is equal to minus half. So if you are given that it gives you a remainder if you divide, it means f of minus half is equal to that remainder, which is minus 7. So you equate to 0, the part that is dividing, you equate it to 0. Then what you get for the value of x, if you substitute that x, you must obtain the remainder, which is 7. So this 7 is the remainder. So if we substitute this value here, we must obtain this remainder that you are. So that's it directly, just substitute. So let's substitute, guys. We've got 16x to the exponent of 3, that's 16. Our x is minus half, so it's minus half to the exponent of 3. Minus px squared, so it's going to be minus, our x is minus half, so it's minus half squared x, minus half xp there, so it's going to be p here. Okay, 12x plus 12 times our x, which is minus half, plus 3 is equal to the remainder, which is minus 7. If it is a factor, then it was going to be f of minus half like this. F of minus half is equal to 0 if it was a factor. but this one, it's not a factor. It gives you a remainder, so that's not a factor. So simplify this part from your calculator, combine it to 3 because these are numbers, and also combine it to this one. So you're going to combine these numbers, or you can just work them separately. On this one, you're going to obtain -2. On this one, you've got -1/4p. 12 times -1/2, that's -6 plus 3 is equal to -7. So let's combine the numbers here, and this one and this one. That is going to be a -5. Okay, if I'm not mistaken here, that is going to be -5 minus 1/4p is equal to -7. So transpose -5 to the other side of the equation, it's going to be +5. So that's -1/4p is equal to -2. So to find the value of p, all you need is to divide by -1/4 both sides, because we've got -1/4p, which is -2. So you divide by -1/4 here, by -1/4 here. So this can cancel, and your p is going to give you something like 8. So that is the value of p. Okay, guys, so that's what we had on this question. That was question number 1 from November 2016 revisions. So make sure that you join the membership class. Join the membership on the YouTube channel there. Just join so that you can be part of our membership, so that you are going to have your own extra classes or your own extra questions separately from these ones that everyone is going to watch. We are going to have extra questions. So make sure that you join membership, and you can learn as much as you can from Mason African Motives, guys, till we meet again.